Well, my girlfriend surprised me with this. You might be asking what the hell this is. This is a wood-burned, elite, handmade deck box. Even got the epoxy Dragon Ball in there with the shine. Beautiful. Starting with the leader as always. If you're new to the game, you might have never played against Broly, but it's been getting support here and there. Broly's a set 1 leader, one of the first leaders in the game. Permanent, this card can't attack battle cards, which it would be a lot better if it could. Auto, when this card attacks, both players choose 1 card in their hand and place it in the drop area. And Awaken, when your life's at 4 less, you may draw 2 cards and flip this over. Pretty standard for set 1 Awakens. Well, I've spent the last 20 minutes trying to get this at an angle where it's readable. That set 1 foiling really doesn't lend itself to the webcam. I don't know what it is. Permanent on this side, still can't attack battle cards. Auto, when this card attacks, draw 1 card, then both players choose 1 card in their hand and 1 card from their battle area and place those cards in the drop areas. Well, you might be thinking that, damn, it sucks that I have to discard a card from hand every time I swing. This is a really shitty hand control deck. And that's where you'd be wrong. That's demonic restraint. That's where we help nurse that problem. If you played the beta and you haven't really seen anything else on the card game, you might have played Broly's Ring when you were playing the Broly's deck. This is the updated version of that field card, and that's why it's sideways and very pretty. Permanent, this card is also treated as Broly's Ring in all areas, and cards in your hand can't be discarded by your green Broly leader skills. Auto, if your leader is a mono green Broly card, when this card is discarded and placed to the drop area from your battle area by one of your leader card or battle card skills, activate this card from the drop area and add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. So that's kind of the bonus effect that this version has, is that you can sack it off with your leader and it comes back instead of Broly's Ring where it's just gone. It also has an activate main once per turn for 3 green energy. If your leader is mono green Broly, choose 1 of your mono green cards and energy cost 6 or less from your hand and play it. I'm gonna let you know right now I don't have a single card in this deck that fits that criteria. Next up, SS3 Broly Sand Berserker, of course. This guy, he's got a permanent where you can't play him if you have non-green cards, blah, 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 blah. I'm not playing him in this deck. We don't need to worry about that. He does have an activate main where I can tap 4, choose 1 Broly Ring in my battle area, place it to the drop area and play him. Sure, if I was in a pickle and I didn't play any other colored cards, I could play that, but realistically, I'm not doing that. I'm using it for his auto. When this card is placed in my drop area from my hand by a skill, and my leader card is a Broly, I get to choose 1 Broly's Ring from my deck, activate it, then I shuffle my deck. If I do activate the card, I have to choose 1 or 2 life, add them to my hand, and that resolves the effect. So no matter what happens, if I'm at 1 life left, I cannot search for that field or I just die. It doesn't say up to 1 life, up to 2, no. I have to choose 1 or 2, and there's a couple of Broly BR cards that are like that as well. So the nice thing about that is you want to see this early on. Turn 1, you swing with your leader, discard this for your effect. You can take 2 life, start getting your hand advantage, play your field so you don't have to worry about discarding anymore for the game, unless they got some way to pop your field and then you have to fish out another one, but hey, it doesn't happen too often. Partner in crime here is the SS Bardock Parental Unison. Playing this Unison the same way we play it in all of the green decks. We're playing it for its auto. When your opponent combos, you may choose 1 card in their combo area, place it to the drop area, and if you do, negate the skill for the turn. So they want a super combo? Nah, they get their draw and whatnot, but you still get to put it to the drop area, and you get to do that on both yours and your opponent's turn once. So it helps with the whole hand control aspect. I did lie, the +1 we do use a lot in this deck, and it's an activate main. You get to choose 1 of your green battle cards, energy cost 1, KO it. If you do, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and discards it. So that means we gotta have some 1-drops. So, starting it off, simple. Broly, Dawn of the Rampage. You get to search the top 7 cards of your deck, add 1 green Broly. You're looking for him, just in case you can't find your field. I was running it without him, and it was not working too well. Bulma, Life on Namek. When she's played, you get to look at the top 5, you get to add a green Unison, or you get to grab a green Sand with energy cost 3 or less. That covers our super combos, and also the other 1-drops here as well. Paragus is Sacrifice. I know I said I wasn't using Paragus in the actual term run, but this is the deck I'd be using if my brain was smart enough to remember Paragus. So to have the Paragus in the deck, I actually took out the SSB Vegeta Lost Kingdom's Pride. I felt like this card was just clogging my hand because it costs 2 energy to combo, and I wasn't ever getting it out. And then just 1 more Dawn of Rampage Broly, because I feel 2 is enough to find the big boy Broly. So Paragus, super good. Activate main, choose one green card from your battle area. Other than this card, place in the drop area, draw one card. You're thinking, my god, you're getting rid of your one drops, you're not going to be able to use Bardock. Listen, I'm getting rid of that. And then I'm able to draw a card off him every turn for free, because that comes back and I can take a life and awaken quicker. So he's super good. The only thing that you'd have to worry about is kind of now with the Z battle card, I want to be running in that 4 to 5 cards in hand range when my opponent's sitting around 2, 1, or 0. So I'll have to do my order of operations correctly to get as much draw as I can in one turn. As for another 1-drop, why not have a 1-drop super combo? This Vegeta Lone Prince in any hand control deck, I love him because he's a super combo where, of course, if you're at 4 less life, you get to combo him, draw 1 card, perfect. But if I play him and he comes down, I get to make my opponent discard 1 card from hand. So if my opponent has 2 cards left in hand, I can pay 1 energy, play the Vegeta down, get my opponent to discard 1. I can do the +1 on the Bardock, make them discard 2. So I basically got a Ribrianne for 1 energy. Now we're getting into the heavy hitters here. So I am going to go with the Fated Rivals. Good old Son Goku and Piccolo. I'm going 2 of each. In most matchups, I felt like I just played a Goku to finish the game. If they had a blocker token, I'd KO'd it because you can KO anything ignoring barrier, and you get to basically put another super combo back at the bottom of your deck because you need to place one of your Z energy at the bottom of the deck anyway. It's the best support Green is getting probably for a long time, but the Piccolo's there, extra hand control, right? Most of the time, it's just going to be the Goku. I'm going for game. Piccolo does help out sometimes, but Next, getting into the tech cards that I was trying out with this deck, and they worked okay. First one here is going to be Hit Assassin Strike. So, barrier, dual attack, auto. 2 green energy if your leader is green and your opponent has 2 or more energy, and this card is in your combo area. When one of your green battle cards attacks and KOs an opponent's battle card, play this card from your combo area. Sounds nice. Barrier, dual attack comes out for 2 energies, 20k. Now, here's the cool part. Auto, limit 1, if this card's in rest mode, when your opponent attacks, they may choose 2 cards in their hand, discard them. If they don't, negate the attack, and your opponent can't attack for the turn. So you got a baby hatch, basically, on that. I know it can get black smoked. It's just, this card didn't have any time to shine, and I think when it came out, it was super good. Just nobody was touching green, right? The Champa and Beerus decks are a little goofy. Speaking of Champa and Beerus decks, the other tech card that I haven't been able to get on this deck, and I could cut it just for numbers' sake, but you gotta have it in there for the flex. Of course, Kaioken cards, I gotta have a Kaioken in the deck. Double Strike, auto, limit 1. If your leader is green and this card's in your combo area, when one of your green battle cards attacks and KOs an opponent's card, play this card from your combo area. And then he has another auto that when he attacks, you get to choose one. I can either KO one of my opponent's battle cards or make them discard 1 from hand. In this deck, most of the time, we're going to make them discard 1 from hand. The neat thing about him is the way these two work, if I swing with the SSB Goku and I use the KO effect, I can actually use that to proc the hit because I am swinging and KOing a card. The way the hit's worded, it says when one of your green battle cards attacks, so this goes into rest mode, and KOs an opponent's battle card. Doesn't say it has to be from battle, so that effect works as well too because it's swinging, and then I can just pop it. The Vegetas, I'd slot them in here if I was still running them. It's not worth it. My opponent doesn't keep a huge board anyway because of my leader effect, so they're iffy. The hit is really nice when it can come down. It forces my opponent to use a black smoke. If they use a black smoke and they're not drawing off of it, it's more value for me. So more tech cards here. We're going with Cooler Vicious Ambush. You're probably like, what the hell's a King Cold card doing in here? Hey, it's 15k crit, and for 1 energy, if my leader is green, when I activate a green extra card, play this card from my hand, and I can't play copies for the turn. We got some green extra cards in here. It doesn't have to be the field, but that works. It gets activated from the deck. Turn 1, I can slap that down realistically because I'm not paying any energy, especially if I'm going second and I'm swinging. Discard that, play the field, tap 1, play him. And then I got a 15 crit turn 1. Pretty good. The next is the MVP for every green deck. Kaioken Son Goku the Furious. Every single one of my green deck profiles, you've been seeing this card. There's a reason. 1 energy, 15k crit, you can't go wrong. It is stupid good. Next up, it's a card that I haven't been putting in decks for a while, but I think it slots in very well with Broly. Rosie Blast Manipulator. She's Deflect. If my leader is green or heroine, when this card is played, my opponent chooses 2 cards in their hand, discards them, and this card gains triple attack for the turn. A lot of the times, it is my finisher. If I see her, it's going to be my opponent has 2 cards left in hand, and they got 1 life, and it's game over. I'm pretty sure that happened in the gameplay video. But even if not, a little bit earlier, if I want to get rid of a Unison that's bothering me, I can play her down, Make them rip 2 cards from hand and just start swinging at the unison and just really starve out their board. Super, super good in this deck. And then, of course, the SGR. I'm only running 1, but Sun Gohan, Latent Power Unleash. I know now that Boo has been hit. It's still really good. Don't get me wrong. I still think it's a super good card. Get wipe 3 markers off any of my opponent's unisons. I'm down for that. It's not Black Smoke where you have to have it a specified cost 2 unison. No, this is any unison, get whacked. Last tech piece here is the Fused Zamasu Deity's Wrath. He's indestructible. Every time he swings, your opponent has to discard 1. Why not, right? Now, we're on to our counters. First, counter plays. Frieza Charismatic Villain. We're running green. We're running a unison. Why wouldn't we be running Frieza Charismatic Villain? Cool thing about him, he's a 5-drop. He can go into Zamasu. If you played against green, you've seen that hundreds of times. That's still a combo. I'm going to put in the deck, pop a card, tap 1 energy, go into a Zamasu, make the Frieza a threat. You know what I mean? I don't. Next counterplay, Dodoria Brimming with Power. Counterplay, this one's a hard counterplay. So what I mean by that is the card doesn't enter play, so it doesn't get its on-play autos. If my leader's mono green and have a green unison card in play, so all I have to do is tap an energy, and if the card coming in has an energy cost of 2 or less, it's placed to the drop area instead of being played. And guess what? It's also a 1-drop, so that means I can use it as Bardock fodder after. So they are a great pairing, and I think 2 is the right number. The worst case scenario, they're playing cards that are over 2, and guess what? You can charge it. But a lot of Z battle cards are 2 cost. Beerus doesn't have barrier, so you can hit Beerus with that, as well as the new yellow Goku with that Z stack bullshit. Continuing with the counters, we have Dorm Potential Unleashed. You guys know what this does. You stop a turn. This is your Floodgate in green. You got a unison. You don't got a unison. You got an energy up. Whatever. You're playing Dormant. I'm running 3 of them. You have to watch out how you're using Dormant in this deck, because you do want your opponent to kind of use up their cards and starve themselves. You want to be able to like get one of their combos out of there. So don't be reckless, because you have to discard a card for Dormant's full effect, and you don't want to bring yourself too low. Unless you got the Z battle card, then you can go nuts, but we'll get to that after. We already got spoilers over here. Get the fuck out of there. Final counter card is Shocking Death Ball. So, bringing it back to the classics, if you don't want to use energy, you can take a life instead. That's if you have Sparking 5, which Sparking 5 in this deck is fairly easy to get. But, counterattack, negate the attack, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 2 or less and KO it, which, a lot of Z battle cards, 2 or less, so he's not bad. I decided to use him instead of Homicidal Clones. I feel like I have a lot of open energy in this deck, especially if we're both going really low hand size, and I think Shocking just fits better. As for the off-color card, I am going for Dark Temptation Toa, so she shuts off me from playing. Same Berserker. That's completely fine. I think it's a super good trade-off. Overwhelm 3, when she's played using Overwhelm, if my leader's green or yellow, choose one of my leader cards, it gets plus 5k for the turn, and my opponent's discard a card from hand. And she's 15k, so she can swing too, or she can be used as a combo piece off my leader, or anything like that. Always want to throw her in green decks when I can. I know that GT Goku, you're only allowed playing mono green cards, so she won't work in there, but any other green deck, come on, slap her in. As for the SCR, you might have got spoiled before, but we're going with Cell Max. Pretty gangster, 1 energy, 40k, quad strike. He can't attack until I have 4 more energy, and he can't be removed until I have 4 more energy, but still. He does have the cool thing where if he's removed from the battle area, I can choose all my opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, place 1 card from my opponent's life to the drop. Boom. Deadly. Cell Max is a beast. The cool thing with this is, it was ruled in a match. If I swing with my leader, I can use his effect to pop Cell Max, obviously after 4 energy, and get his effect to burn one of my opponent's life. I'm 90% sure that's how it works. That's how one of the judges ruled it. But if it's incorrect, please let me know in the comments below. But that's super good. If my opponent's stuck on 1 life, and they have their entire deck in their hands, bada bing, bada in hell, and they're in hell as well. On to the Z deck. The MVP for this deck, SS Broly, the Demon Revive. So this is the newest support that's come out for this deck, and wow, it's a doozy. Permanent. If my leader's a Broly card, ignore this card's specified cost in all areas, and this card can't be KO'd while it's in a battle area. Already super good. So I'm paying 2 green for this in the deck. It's a 15k. I know the camera's a little blurry because it's shiny. I need to get a fucking new one. So basically it's auto. When it attacks, I get to choose a red or green card in my drop area that has 5k combo power. I get to combo it, and then if I have 4 or less cards in hand, I get to draw 1 card. Okay, so even if I'm getting my opponent low by getting myself low, I'm still able to draw 1 card. You're looking at me right now and you're saying, what if I have 5 cards in hand? Like, what's going on? I'm not going to be able to combo because the auto goes off first, and I won't be able to draw, and really relax. Here's a solution. Activate main once per turn. Discard 1 card from your hand. Add up to 1 life to your hand, so another way to awaken. You really want to get to the backside of your leader as quick as possible so you can start drawing with your leader and making your opponent discard and have to remove their board every time you swing. You get to discard a card from hand and you get to choose one. So either you can make your opponent discard 1 from hand, most of the times you're doing that, or you get to choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with 20k power or less and KO it. So say bye-bye, blocker tokens. Get them out of here. This card, every single game I played it, I think even one of the games I played all 3. This card is amazing. I realistically should bump it up to 4. I don't know if I'd ever play 4 in a game, but just in case, right? Because he can't be KO'd, but he can still be bottom deck, which removes from the game. He can still be minus, which removes from the game. He can still be warped, which removes him from the game. So he doesn't have ultimate protection, but that KO aspect does really help a lot. Next up, we got one of Jiren the Immovable. I don't know. He's solid. If I really need to finish with a double strike and I got a lot of Z energy to spare, I can go to him. But if I'm spending 2 energy, I'd much rather play another Broly. He's okay. Another 2-drop that you can go into is Frieza, and I think he is a better option for the deck because I can still swing with the other Broly and ditch a Z energy, make my opponent discard 1 more card from hand, and if I need a double strike 15k, he's there. Not bad. He's just always double strike Jiren. You got to use the ability to get double strike. Not sure. We have our 1-drop just in case boy being the Goku Awakened by Rage. He's not bad if you really need a finisher. And in this deck, a lot of the times it comes down to the wire because you're just beating your opponent's face in. You draw a decent amount, but you're still only drawing if you're within that certain low hand range, and you want your opponent to be at a low hand range either, so it always becomes a dogfight by the end of it. So he's super, super good if you need to just clutch out something and you have no more cards in hand. As is B Vegeta, we're throwing him in every deck that can awaken naturally. There's a lot of cards in here that can awaken us, but if we don't see him, we don't see our pieces, he's our backup. Why not? We get to bottom deck a card from hand, take a life, draw a card. He's super, super good. That's the deck list. Almost the exact same one that I had in the tournament. If you haven't watched that footage, the link will be down below. I'd never touched Broly at all until last week when we did the tournament. He is super fun. I know a lot of people love Broly. Give this deck a try. You might need to search around for those demonic restraints because they were a promo from a while back. But my god, this deck is fun as fuck. Even just those and these, that's your deck. You can customize it however you want. You can play actual Broly cards in the deck for the most part. I know a typical Broly deck is going through the whole Broly chain. I'm just going here for the complete hand destruction, disgusting train. I know I'm not running Ribrians. I'm not a huge fan of Ribrian. I know it works well in decks like Raditz where you got to discard cards anyway. It works well here too, but I'd rather spend my energy on different stuff, especially now that Broly's come out, and then just whittle my opponent's hand down in a different manner. That being said, I stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Stop by, watch me try not to get slaughtered. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and make sure to take the locks off the car door.